Well, hello there, Crime Squad. Welcome back to my channel. Today, we've got something wild to get into. And trust me, you don't want to miss this one. We're going to be listening to a phone call between Charlie Adelson and his mom, Donna. Now, this, I think, is from November 8th, 2023. And let me tell you, if you thought this case couldn't get more wild, buckle up. For those of you who are not familiar with the case or you just need a quick refresher, this all started back in 2014 when Dan Markel, a well known law professor, was tragically unalived right outside of his home. Now, here's where it all gets kind of crazy. The life taking event was a hit job, allegedly orchestrated by none other than Charlie Adelson, which was Dan's ex brother in law. Because you guessed it, a custody battle between Dan and his ex Wendy, who just happened to be Charlie's sister. Oh, I know that's a lot. I know that's a lot. There's so many twists and turns in this story. But since then, the craziness just keeps coming. Now, we've got ex-girlfriends, we have shady money transactions, undercover stings. I mean, this case has more layers than an onion and it smells probably just as bad. Charlie has been convicted, though. He was said to be the mastermind behind this murder for hire plot. But the story doesn't stop there. Oh no. His mother, Donna, was also arrested. She was trying to hop on a one-way flight to Vietnam. Yes, you heard it. A one-way flight to Vietnam. And we'll get into that later. But today's phone call, oh, it's packed with even more drama as Donna Adelson, his mom, breaks down on the call with her boy, Charlie. So before we dive in, let's make sure to please smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and please hit the bell so that you don't miss any updates on the case. And oh, shout out to our friends at Phone Calls from Prison for bringing us this exclusive audio. Go check them out and give them a subscribe too. All right, enough talk. Let's just go ahead and get into it. The initial parts of Charlie's audio are a little muffled, but within seconds, it definitely gets better.
That you, with a new trial, to get all 12 people to agree with you all the time that you're going to be prepping and being refreshed and going over everything to something that I'm not going to be as fresh and as recent as it is now to, to go ahead and like.
You say that now because you're 48 hours into this, but don't sell yourself short. You know, other people that care about you, things can happen, okay? So just...
Yeah. No, I get it. I just feel also like, listen, things come back how to feel on cases, but when it's the biggest case of people's career, like when you're a judge and it's the biggest case you've ever looked after, and you're a prosecutor and it's the biggest case you've ever done, like, you're not looking to make mistakes and get it back on appeal. You're looking to err in a direction that would make it impossible to come back. You know, like, it's like if you wanted to rule hard on certain things, the rule's off. If there's less things that, you can't, like, if you made an improper ruling and didn't allow me to bring in certain evidence, well, then that's a good reason to bring it back. But if you're ruling with the defendant, you can't say that you ruled against me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the guy that I was friendly with here he got into a fight with someone and supposedly he took a Corningworth dishware, broke it over the guy's head, and then stole his car. And then he got like 15 years, right?
Yeah.
They actually charged him. They overcharged him. It should have just been like assault and battery. But they actually charged him with attempted murder. Mm-hmm. And so because of the 5 days, that's his version of it. So his grandmother got him an attorney. The attorney charged him $7,500 to do the case. And the attorney, like when he showed up in court, the defendant, the victim testified, right? his attorney kept calling the victim who was testifying by the wrong name. Didn't even pay attention to remember the guy's name who was the victim. So he got sentenced to like 15 or 20 years. And he was there for 10 years. And he was able to get like some part thrown out on appeal. And he was in prison for 10 years. And then he got 5 years probation. And then he was out. And then like 4 months into being on probation, he tested positive for cocaine. And he said it was because his stepson had killed himself. He said he thought he was just doing it to split his wrist to get attention, but he actually used a straight like farmer trimmer that he trimmed his ears with. Like an old fashioned one, he was farmer, split his wrist and died. They went off with defense and doing cocaine again. Yeah.
Okay. What I learned about Charlie Adelson is he does seem rather narcissistic. He also seems, and I'm not diagnosing him, I'm not able to, but he seems to have those tendencies. Again, not diagnosing him, but he also seems to talk just to hear himself talk, but just likes to ramble on a bit. He's talking about some totally different case where some guy was incarcerated, and his lawyer made some mistakes, and that kind of helped him on appeal to get out. And he was doing cocaine, doing some drugs. He got popped on a drug test, and instead of him saying, hey, I'll go back in and serve my time because I messed up, the guy ended up unaliving himself. What does this have to do with your case, Charlie? What does this have to do? Are you saying your attorney, there was an ineffective case that you're going to try to bring up on an appeal? I just think he likes to just talk, and his mom just listens and lets him say whatever. She was kind of crying at the initial part of this video. You may not have heard that, but she was whimpering a little bit because she said she was sad that he was in there, and I understand, but I think she has some charges as well.
He said it was drug test. They had him here in Leon County for a probation violation for 16 months, protecting positive. He was here for 14 months, and then they sent him to a 6-month rehab program. But I think what it was an extended rehab program. But I think what it was an he doesn't even go to the judge. It's already murder case. A private attorney should be anywhere from like $50,000 to $75,000 to do a case like that. This is the amount of time that's involved, right? This guy charged him 7 seconds. If you know you can't have a logical answer for it, why are you showing up at the front? And then it makes it seem like you're coming up with excuses. It really does. When I told someone that was shooting in the air, I was like, yeah, that's really true. You know what they said?
Yeah, Charlie.
It's got to be like 1 in a million.
Everybody incarcerated says they're innocent.
Family from Detroit. I said, yeah, she was really there. He was like, that's like, the odds of that, he's always like an odd guy. You know who we're talking about, right? He's there, I said. And he's like, you gotta be kidding me. That's like 1 in a million. Like that, you can't even imagine the odds. And I go, yo, that happened. Right after she spoke to her mom and her brother that morning. Like, the reason for her being on Trust is called.
Yeah, I see a comment that says that this arrogant guy is thinking that he's the biggest case that the attorney and the judge has ever dealt with. The case is so sad. So many lives affected needlessly with sorrow and grief. All of these cases are like that, though. The criminal thinks that they're the biggest thing to happen. It's almost like they're excited that they are getting the attention, but it's infamy. It's terrible attention. It's the wrong type of attention. Rechannel that energy into something positive. But yeah, you can hear the arrogance.
Right to anyone. Except that's what happened. She was going to the liquor store. She used to go from that house. That's how she did. And I think it should have been brought out. I mean, I think I did bring it out, but then later, when I went to dinner with her, they sat up at the bar. The drinks that they give you are those martinis, and they're really, really sweet, but they're loaded with alcohol. So she had one drink at the bar, and we sat down at the table. I had one drink with dinner. What I should have said is that those drinks are like 3 shots each one. So you have someone on empty stomach, who has like a 0 alcohol tolerance, drinks, but it's the equivalent of 6 shots. They put almost 3 ounces of alcohol in each martini. So that guy's the equivalent of having 6 glasses of wine on an empty stomach on a girl who weighs 120 pounds who has no alcohol tolerance. She doesn't drink ever. Last time she went to a liquor store was she was married 3 or 4 years earlier. That's the one she went to. And she picked it up on the way to lunch. That's the real reason. Nothing to see here. Which, one time, she left that house, she drove by at 12:30 without having a reason to be at the house. Like, how many miles away is she? How many different ways to get there? All needs to be trespass. You've done that down. You have to probably had jurors sitting back there discussing this thing. So we believe that she just happened to be handed by there at 12:30 on the 18th on her own. So you believe her. And if you don't believe her, you really don't need to listen to bullshit music. You don't need to listen to anything else. You just go, well, what happened that day got her to where she wanted to be. So, Charlie thinks it's one reason that she was in the best interest in driving by that house. She couldn't help herself. Sounds like the way she worded it. She couldn't help herself. I mean, I feel like Dan was being a straight shooter and being honest and like breaking it down and explaining the case to people and like doing like being a lawyer. She was like she became like the guy on the radio said, Ms. Kappelman made it all seem like a movie and made it real. It was watching a 2-hour movie on the case.
That's right. That's right.
And that's true. She put a 2-hour movie together with autopsy photos 2 or 3 times. And it was basically, do you believe Wendy? Do you think she had a motive? Do you think that she wanted to move to South Florida? Here's the family's emails. Relocation is #1 priority. As soon as she drove down Prescott and she saw what happened, #1 priority, #1 family's priority, you see it in her writing, happened. What a coincidence. Yeah. Like, lay it out. Lay it out. She had to say, lay it out. And you go, the smell of the dead. And, if Wendy saw her on the relocation thing, she would have seemed like a liar. And it wasn't that important. So then Wendy, who really, at that point, when she realized she was going to be in Tallahassee a long time, it wasn't that big of a deal. It wasn't. So Wendy kind of like, they made it seem like Wendy didn't care that much. Well, the back end was not a thing. She wants you to believe that she doesn't care about staying in Tallahassee. Well, that's why you're writing a book and you're talking about your motive of leaving. You had no intention of wanting to stay there. You felt trapped. You know, the email says relocation. So your order, #1 part.
As I said before, Charlie Adelson just likes hearing himself talk. His mother, on the other hand, seems like an enabler. She just lets him say whatever, just runs on and rants and doesn't stop him. He really could use some help from Wackolicious Wade Wilson on how to conduct a proper phone call so that we're more entertained, because at this point I am simply not, and I do not want to do this to you, Crime Squad. So I'm going to cut his rant short. I'll listen in a few more minutes to see if he says anything significant. The main thing he's talking about here is he's complaining about the prosecution, which is what they all do. So we'll listen in a couple more minutes, and we'll see. But if not, we'll cut this one short.
Priority. But the kids in that uniform. Yeah. Once she took no Trescott that day, she knew.
I wanted to give you a fair shake,
2 days
Charlie.
later, she was out of there. But she changed the kid's name, and she, didn't let the grandparents see the kids. I mean, they make all those facts get spun.
What does this have to do with you, with your case, with you being there, with somebody? They always deflect.
Not reality, but evil. They make me sound sick and evil. And then once they make you sound sick and evil,
You are
you
sick and
can't
evil.
sound like somebody that's like, oh, I didn't really care if I was making a life for myself in Tallahassee. No, that'll make you want it. That'll make you go. Once you can just have faith and no one's stopping you, and you left within 48 hours, did you? Yeah.
Sometimes I think, Charlie, that I was just going to say it's off topic, but not. Sometimes I think you like EST. So, I don't know, 15 minutes ago, you said something to us about it was legal pitch. So, at 3:05, what time is it? 3:10. So, five minutes ago, I see an email from Alex.
Oh,
it
nice.
seems that, because Dad has been digging into this since last year, and then we finally found out that the check was mailed, even though we had moved. It was mailed to the Icon, and remember Gene at the front desk?
Right.
He signed for it. We found that. I mean, we were literally like little investigators here. So we got that information, and then it took. Dad went to Wells Fargo. He went to different people there.
So his father is Harvey Adelson. The lady who's talking now is his mother, Donna. His dad isn't saying much at this point on the call, but she's letting him speak.
And finally had to go to the legal department, a whole to-do, and then the end result is that the only person at that point who could pick it up was Alex or you.
Yeah, what it is, I had a power of attorney that they would not accept.
They wouldn't accept it. So in any case,
Alex
he just took a picture of it. He said, I got it. Let me know the address to send it. So
That's the $5,000 check.
Yeah.
Yep, little over five.
Yeah.
There his dad is.
Got a refund.
But the two big things for Ryan are going to be, he was writing checks to people that don't exist in real life. So I was writing.
Yeah, he's in Lee County. I see a comment. He's in Lee County Jail in Tallahassee, Florida.
Checks to like Kyle and Nicholas, and then he told me I was funding cases of Nicholas, except he was taking those checks, and he had someone on the inside of the bank or going to the check cashing store and then cashing them. And then when I closed the company and I wanted to find out what's going on with Nicholas, he said, client is in jail. He sent me to back, the client was in jail. The client is incarcerated. So what he was doing was I was lending to people that don't exist in the real world, and then he was able to cash those checks somehow, and then he was just going to lie to me and tell me the cases went belly up, and he was telling me that there were cases with the that was the institution, that was the fraud. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Then the embezzlement was when I was lending to good cases, he was having to write the check to him personally. So if I lent $5,000 and the case settled for a lot of money, and I was both back to $14,000, right? What he was doing was he had to write him a check for $1,000. So I'm lending $5, I'm due back $14, case settles, write a check to Ryan for $1. And then he would cash the check.
Sold the rest.
What?
Sold the rest.
Well, and their client. Because they were able to get their client. Wouldn't it be great if you get a $5,000 loan and then 3 years later pay back $1,000? That's got to be like the best loan business
That's
in the
a
world.
really good loan, right?
So there's like one of the things that I'm taking back less. So they're signing contracts when they screwed up themselves. They signed a contract with U.S. Legal Funding, telling U.S. Legal Funding that we had a lien on the case. So when the case settles and the funds are distributed, I have to get paid back. So I put $5,000 down, I paid $14 back. Okay. Well, the case settles, they pay $1,000 to Ryan Fitzpatrick. And then when I asked him what's going on with the case, he tells me it's still in litigation. I was like, okay, still in litigation. No, the case has been settled and Ryan has been paid. So what the did was over 13 checks, they paid him $63,000. But the total, so they paid Ryan personally $63,000 over 13 checks. But what was actually the real amount that was owed was like $400,000 or $500,000. So he took pennies on the dollar of what was owed on the loan amount, just like I was owed 14 and he got paid 1. I mean, I was probably owed $400,000 or $500,000 with the outstanding balance. But they paid less than principal on the loans and they paid him to Ryan. So they loved him, what a great deal. And he loved them because it's getting free money. And their clients are loving their lawyers because they're borrowing $5 grand and paying that 1 from the trust account.
Right.
And then meanwhile, they're just hoping I go to jail. And it was the only thing I could have done is go call my friends and say, what the hell's Ryan doing?
What?
He told everyone I stabbed him in the back. The victim. The Aaron victim, the Italian victim. You know, would show up and be like, oh man, I love Charlie so much, but you wouldn't believe what he did here today. And then you tell him what I said, and it's like, oh, you know what?
Why didn't you just say all of this in the trial, Charlie? I mean, you have to have a defense, right? Why didn't your lawyer, just explain this in the trial? And if it was really true, really valid, then the outcome would have been different for you. But you didn't. So I feel like he's just mumbling, just rambling on. Mom's listening to him until she gets tired. I mean, it's her son. You can't blame her.
I couldn't say anything. We're going through a hard time. You know, I just explained it to her time when I told him what he said. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to get involved in this. So what happened is when I would go to Darren, and I'd be like, Darren, is Ryan doing something? Like, is he talking about me? Like, you know, about that. No, he was yelled at me. He's like, stop with this Ryan. It's got nothing to do with Ryan. Like, of course, he couldn't tell me. Yeah, my wife hates him because Ryan poured poison in her ear. The reason I'm pissed at you is because of the things you said about my kid, because Ryan told me.
Okay.
But here I am asking him, so maybe I had a guilty conscience, and I'm like, oh, I know I said something to Darren about Darren's kids.
You should have.
So, but you think Darren?
You should have had a guilty conscience. You're a convicted felon at this point, which means jurors said that you committed the crime, so it's not even alleged at this point. You unalived Dan Markel.
I get involved. He's like, Mister, he's smart. He doesn't get involved in other people's shit. He's like, I got my own life to live. I don't get involved in other people's shit. I got my own spouse. Like, that's his attitude of life. Like, it's smart attitude. But like, I'm like, if I didn't say something to you, like, I knew it had to be him. But Ryan was playing it like he cared about me so much. You think Garrett's going to go to turn his source Ryan in? I'll tell me like where I heard what you said. No, of course not. Here's the question: why would Ryan lie? He's been running 25 years. Why would Ryan lie? And it's there because he's stealing my money and he needs you to hate it. But they can't go.
Crime Squad, you know how sometimes at night, if anybody can relate to this, let me know. So maybe this is the question of this video, pretty late in the video though. You know how sometimes at night you're lying in bed and you need some white noise. You need some white noise or background music to just kind of relax and drift off into a deep slumber. I'm so tempted to let this call continue so that I can use it as my white noise. This is terrible that I even feel this way. I'm so sorry. But this guy is just truly rambling. He's circling back to what he was saying earlier in the conversation. So I don't know if there's a mental health element to this story. I'm trying to kind of dive into it a lot more and learn about it, because I wasn't following this Charlie Adelson case early on, not from the sense of like last year looking at it in the media, but since it's one of the phone calls from prison calls, I thought I'd give it a whirl, see if I'm interested in this case or not, or if I just want it for my background noise, my white noise. Oh my gosh, that's horrible. But anyway, I am going to drop this off right here, and we will listen to another one of our Wackalicious calls shortly, and I'll get that teed up for you guys soon. Thanks for listening in. If you have some opinions about this Charlie and Donna Adelson phone call, please let me know. Just tell me, did it give you the feeling that it's white noise, all this mumbling and ranting in the background when you could have talked about this in the trial? But anywho, no one believed you if you did anyway. Until next time, Crime Squad, stay safe, stay smart, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.